Assalamu alaikum, Islam to all the Moors, Shalawama. Welcome to the free Astro Theology course. I am Dr. Yasapa from Zion Law School. Here's our textbook, The Astrology of the Old Testament, or The Lost Word Regained, published in 1892. The author is Carl Anderson. All right, so we are in our supplementary textbooks. The Witness in the Stars, and also, give me 1 second, let me get this together. The Gospel in the Stars by Joseph A. Seiss, published in 1882. Okay, y'all. And also, The Witness of the Stars, by E.W. Bollinger. So these are the books you're going to need for this lesson. All right. And if possible, we're going to go into the Zodiac Constitution, also the Clock of Destiny, Volume 1 and 2. So y'all should always have those. I'm going to try to go into these documents as much as possible from this point out. And you should also have copies of the cases from enforcetheconstitution.org. You should have the Constitution for the United States of North America. You should have the Treaty of Peace and Friendship. If possible, download them, print them, so you could have and organize them in whatever way you want to have them organized in, but put them in book form. And so as I see fit, we can just go right into them, okay? From the literature to the Circle 7, to the Constitution, to the treaty, to the cases, okay? So make sure you go and download the files. Enforcetheconstitution.org, all right? So our topic is still Virgo. In ancient times, Virgo was the first zodiac, okay? It was the first zodiac that our ancient ancestors recognized during the era of time, which includes now, but during the era of time, of the solar or ecliptical zodiac projection, okay? Which is, this projection dominating is the template for all the religions. So I think it's 16 solar deities use that template of the solar or ecliptical zodiacal projection. But going back in more ancient times, our ancestors used the circumpolar zodiac projection, all right, with this 12 houses. And the circumpolar zodiac projection is vastly more ancient than the solar or the ecliptical zodiac projection that we have been using now, and which has been modified. Of course, y'all remember Virgo Scorpio was replaced by separating Virgo and Scorpio, inserting Libra between the two at the time of the fall of man, and then also according to the author of our primary textbook, The Astrology of the Old Testament, or The Lost Word Regained, published in 1892. The author is Carl Anderson. According to Carl Anderson, the Aries was not in that original zodiac too. So most people, when they talk about the ancient zodiac, they will refer us or reference the zodiac at the Denderak in ancient Kemet, ancient Egypt. But that's a solar projection. And it's very difficult, at least I've been finding it very difficult to get information on the circumpolar zodiac. All right, so anyway, let's get into it. We're going to deal with now Coma, C-O-M-A, which is a deacon, which is a deacon of Virgo. So y'all should remember that each constellation has 3 deacons around it, or let's say 3 next door neighbors, okay, which are 3 constellations located near that zodiac sign. So Coma is the first, so we're going to get into that. Remember, we're dealing with, in modern times, Aries is the first zodiac, and depending on whether or not the author labels Aries or lists Aries as 0 or 1, Virgo is going to be either 5 or 6. So in the astrology of the Old Testament, he's starting Aries as number 1, the first zodiac, which makes Virgo the 6th house, or the 6th zodiac. Okay? All right. And keep in mind, let me read this on page 175 that's dealing with the 6th house. The 6th house relates to all men or maid servants. The 6th house, Virgo, represents to all men servants and maid servants. In other words, all Moors who are in bondage. Day laborers, galley slaves. Slaves, of course, is connotative in this case. Well, maybe it could be, maybe it couldn't. You know, maybe it's talking about the hybrids. It doesn't clarify that. All small cattle. So the hybrid, the Han Uman, and the Elohim of Genesis chapter 1, just Genesis chapter 1, calls the autochthonous Moors of Genesis chapter 2, verse 7, calls them Goyim, or cattle, or small cattle. Okay, all things moving upon the earth. Okay, so all small cattle as hogs, sheep, deer, goats, hares, rabbits, all loss or gain from such. So now you're getting into commerce, losses, profits and losses, delays and detentions of all kinds. So also that's commerce, right? For example, a ship gets delayed, right? When we look at the Treaty of Peace and Friendship, 1836, between the Moroccan Empire and the United States of North America, there are articles dealing with issues concerning delay and detention of ships, in other words, ports. So in today's world, this would be equivalent to, for example, let's say you're traveling down the highway and then a policy enforcer pulls you over. Now that's a port. And you're dealing with commerce and they're trying to contract with you. All right? So the treaty and constitution would be available to protect you, protect your rights against these delays and detentions. It says delays and detentions of all kinds. Now, isn't it interesting that Virgo, the mother and son, in a religious sense, nice to meet you, man. In a religious sense, and Christianity is commerce, but in this sense is dealing with all bondmen and bondwomen, and that sin is death, and that Christianity is commercial. Y'all see it? And that the messenger, the Messiah, who is Mercury, etc., 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 in a religious sense, deals with all matters of commerce, a messenger. All right? And isn't it interesting, I hadn't thought about this before, isn't it interesting that this messenger relays messages from the gods to men or mankind? But the gods, as we know, is consciousness. Or some people call it divine providence, infinite intelligence. So that Thought, the Egyptian deity Thought, who's known to have a stylus, a pen, and his writing table is said to have written 40 volumes of laws. Of course, that's a story. It's not real history. It's an anthropomorphic story. But in other words, the natural laws that the universe operates off of, these were written or provided to men through thought, or written on their hearts. And that's in the book of the law, where it says the Most High wrote his law on their hearts, their stony hearts. All right? So, forgot where I was going with that. Hold on. I think I know. So that the Moors, so that Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 15 through 68, which are the curses or punishments, the pains, the bills of attainder, the bills of, what is it called? The bills of pains and sufferings, the chronic illnesses, the shortened lifespan, the loss of nobility, the loss of nationality, the loss of your birthright, the loss of your inheritance, all of these things, they call it the curses in religion, Deuteronomy 28, 15 through 18, then that would come through consciousness, delivered to the messenger, thought, or delivered to Jesus, who is Mercury. And then those curses or those punishments executed or implemented against men through government structures such as a democracy. Isn't that interesting, y'all? But anyway, this is coming through Virgo. This is coming through Virgo. All right. It continues. Of the sicknesses of the native, so that would be the Aboriginal Moor, Genesis chapter 2, verse 7, or Corinth, that would be the person who's asking a question to a astrologer, someone who can look up at the stars and read the signs and the seasons. Okay? Whether it is curable or not, whether long or short, likewise to farmers and tenants, and being the third and fourth house. Isn't that interesting? Third and fourth, 3 plus 4 is 7, which is universal completeness. Now we get into 7. And all the things that 7 represents, the days of the week. As a matter of fact, let me see something, y'all. Let me see if I can get you something on 7. Hold on. So not just the days of the week, the number of planets, but there's, give me one moment, let me see if I can find it. I'm going into the Clock of Destiny, Volume 1, if I can find what I'm looking for. But give me a second. This is worth going over, dealing with the number 7. I'm trying to remember, where did I see it? Hold on, give me 1 second. Okay, this is a side point, but listen to this. This is on page 41, Clock of Destiny by C.M. Bay, Volume 1, number 7. 7 into 360 degrees equals 51 times with 3 left over, so remainder 3. This division represents the brain trust of organized labor. So brain is the mechanism that the mind works through. The first Hermetic Law, all is mind. And so the brain produces thought, etc. So the brain trust of organized labor. The nation, the quote-unquote woman, and that's a whole story, a big story in itself. And you should remember, as a matter of fact, let me go over to the next page. Give me 1 second, y'all. Let me get my things together. Well, I didn't want to do this, but I'm going to do it. For the sake of time, I didn't want to. Hold on, give me 1 second. Okay, all right. So yeah, this is part of what I was looking for. So let's look at number 9 now. Number 9 on page 41. 9 into 360 degrees. 360 degrees is a circle, y'all, right? 9 into 360 degrees equals 40 times. This division represents the manifestation of the higher mind. The higher mind, so higher self, Christ consciousness, or Christ, right? Summer solstice, June 22nd. The sun, the S-U-N sun, who is the S-O-N son, in religion is Jesus or Yahshua, takes on the title Christ at the summer solstice, which is the higher self. To be in your higher self means you have to have higher thoughts. So that's a higher mind. First Hermetic law, all is mind. Thought is a function of mind, of the mind. 9 into 360 degrees equals 40 times. This division represents the manifestation of the higher mind on the physical and mental plane of being. Now, man is the master or the Lord, the landlord on all of the physical planes, right? Of being. Now, for those of you who are Hebrew Israelites, when you hear the word being, you probably think Strong's number 1961, which is Heya, which is the root for the Tetragrammaton, Yahweh, Yahuwah, etc., Jehovah, etc., meaning being or to exist. The highest law of Islam, I self law, and master, I self law, adept master, which simply means, quote unquote, I am. I am. And y'all can check this at Exodus chapter 3. This is the great I am. I am that I am, and all of that. If y'all want to know more about that, you can buy my book, 101 Ancient Ibaryath. You can get that on Amazon, or you can come to the class I teach every Saturday morning. 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And I can personally take you through that. All you need to do is show up. The link is in the description area of this video. If the link doesn't work, then you just send me an email at yasafa@zionlawschool.org. YASAPA at Zion, ZION, Law, LAW, School, SCHOOL.org. And I'll send you the link. You don't have to pay anything. Okay? Now, it says here, which simply means, I am. The universal moral law. So what is this saying? In my travels around the world, what I observe is that every country, even every local location, they have their own standards of morality, and they differ vastly. Right? If you go to the Philippines, the morality in the Philippines is completely different from the morality in Vietnam. I mean, you can believe that. Totally different. But this is a universal moral law. In order for it to be universal, it has to be based not in religion, because beliefs are not beliefs are not coming out of nature. They're coming out of someone's agenda to get things done, or social engineering. Not engineering, but agenda. Okay, y'all? Social engineering agenda, economic engineering agenda, the way they want people to behave or to make them totally docile, based upon a belief system that's totally disconnected from nature. That's what I was looking for. Beliefs that are totally disconnected from nature. But if it's a universal moral law, that means that they are grounded in nature. They are grounded in nature, not religion and not a belief system, but grounded in natural law. Y'all see it? I am the universal moral law, namely, listen y'all, namely you and me. The sons, the S-O-N-S, the sons of the Asiatic woman. So we Moors, we are Asiatic, right? We are Asiatic. We are man, and man with the womb. Now remember, the book of the law is the authority for the Judeo-Christian legal system. All right? So Genesis chapter 2, verse 7 says, and the Most High created the man from the dust. Okay, so you cannot go wrong with that. But in Asia, the Asiatic, from my understanding of it, is that the entire planet, when it was Pangea, was called Asia. So therefore, the Asiatic man, or the Asiatic Moor, okay, which was the Nation of Islam started calling us the Asiatic black man. I don't know. Well, I know. Let me leave it at that. All right. But we are not black. That's the thing that that's so sad about that thing. Because the Prophet Noble Drew Ali clearly said, we are not black, Negro, all of that. And then Nation of Islam comes right out, a total contradiction, the Asiatic black man, the Negro. But anyway, that's another story. Let me stay on topic. All right. So he says, the division represent the manifestation of the higher mind on the physical and mental plane of being. The higher mind on the physical and mental plane of being. The highest law of Islam, which simply means I am. So I am love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice, the five highest principles of the universe. I am, and so are you, if you choose to be, through your thought and through your action. Otherwise, you're going to be what? The devil and Satan. Right? He continues, the universal moral law, namely you and me, the sons, S-O-N-S, which is the S-U-N-S, right? The son of the sun. The sons of the Asiatic woman, listen y'all, the great God of the human family, who declared some 1,367 years ago, quote unquote, Enai Anolahu La Ilaha Illa Ana, end quote, which reads in English, which is rendered in English, truly I am God, Allah. Allah arm, leg, arm, head. Besides me, there is no other. Isn't that interesting that we hear a similar phrase to that in the Bible, right? So some of y'all might be saying, "Oh, the black woman is God." No, it's not like that. What you have been taught. It's not like that because God is an injected word in the scripture. God is a verb transitive. All right, God is the canine, the canine constellations. Let me show y'all. I'm not going to go into this too much because I've already shown it many times. So y'all going to have to, or you can Google search. Excuse me. You can Google search the canine constellations. All right, but let me just show you for clarification. See, this word God is a is a problem for Christians and Hebrew Israelites. Canis, so here's Canis Minor, the second dog. Y'all see? Now dog, spelled backward, is God. So it's an anagram of God. Y'all see that? This is why in the movie The Wizard of Oz, you saw the little dog uncover the wizard, pull the curtain off of the wizard. Right, y'all? So in other words, it is your knowledge of astrology, your knowledge of nature that pulls the cover off of these wizards. All right? In other words, these, in that instance, a wizard represents, if I'm correct, the Grand Master of the Ku Klux Klan. But these are secret society members who are heading up religions, heading up churches. So it is the study of nature, the study of astrology. Specifically in this case, Canis Major, Canis Canine, y'all. Canine dog. Canis Major, Canis Minor. Canis Major, Canis Major. Knowledge of the Zodiac. Knowledge, and if my memory serves me correctly, these, as a matter of fact, I'm going to check it. But if my memory serves me correctly, these dog stars are in the circumpolar. In other words, they're in the north. All right? They're in the north, the circumpolar projection. But I'm going to check it. All right? So it's that knowledge that exposed the religious system, which has as its template the solar or ecliptical zodiac projection, right? All of the solar deities. Y'all heard? All right. So God also etymologically refers to Odin and Woden. So here's Canis Major, the dog. Here's Canis Major, the dog. All right? Okay? So give me 1 second. Let me try to make it do what I do what it do rather. All right, so I'm reading on page 91 of the Gospel in the Stars by Joseph A. Seiss, published in 1882. All right, they never thought we'd get our hands on these books, y'all. They thought that they would keep us asleep through mind control, through the misuse and abuse of the Hermetic Law of mental gender. All right, page 91. Amongst others, also vibration, also cause and effect, amongst other, but I want to focus on the law of mental gender. Masculine mental energy, which is the great I am. All right? Because we're dealing with I am. Okay? So now, okay, Sirius. The second deacon confirms and sustains the same presentation. This is the great dog. D-O-G spelled backwards is, D-O-G spelled backwards is G-O-D, dog, anagram of God. Also, God is good, G-O-O-D, delete one of the double O's, and also you get God. That's where you get God is good. All right? Now he continues. This is the great dog, anciently the wolf. Isn't that interesting? The wolf, when you think about Rome, Romulus. The special hunter and devourer of the hare. In the Attainder Zodiac that we just mentioned, let me orient y'all to Attainder. Now, this is not a good picture, but if you've been following my work, you're going to know exactly what I'm talking about. Where is it? Attainder. Y'all like and share the video, okay? Like and share the video. This is our heritage that I'm sharing with y'all. So this is not a good image, but this is the best I can do at the moment. So this is the zodiac projection at Attainder. This is a solar zodiac projection, all right? Very ancient. This is what he's talking about. So let's keep it moving. So he continues. This is what he says. In the Attainder zodiac, the figure is the eagle or hawk. So now the dog is the eagle or hawk, the particular enemy of the serpent. Yeah, that's true, right? Have y'all ever watched videos of eagles swooping up on a snake, on a serpent, killing it and eating it? Having on his head a double mark of crownings with power and majesty, and standing on top of a great mace as the triumphant royal breaker and bruiser of the powers of evil. The principal star in this constellation is the most brilliant and fiery in all the heavens. All others he excels, no fairer light ascends the skies, none set so clear and bright. But it is associated with burning heat, pestilence, and disaster to the earth and the children of men. Homer sung of it as a star, quote unquote, whose burning breath taints the red air with fevers, plagues, and death. Virgil speaks of the blighted fields, a smitten earth, and suffering beast because of this star. So let's continue. So now we're on Canis Major, the dog, all right? Let me go back. Before we start Canis Major, the dog, there's another quote here about Sirius. With pestilence heat infects the sky, all right? So now let's go to Canis Major, the dog. This star is called Sirius. Listen, y'all, from Sir or Seer, which means prince, guardian, the victorious. Taken in connection with the name of the figure in the Egyptian sphere, as often given, we have Naz-Seer or Nazir. Oh, that's that's sounding very much like Nazi, the root of Nazi. Well, we're going to see where it's going to go. And we know who it was that was to be called Nazarene. I knew it was going there. This is the Nazarene. All right, y'all? So the Nazarene goes back to Nazi, or Nazi goes back to the Nazarene, or to the Nazarene to Jesus, for those of y'all who don't know. And Seir is S-E-I-R, so Mount Seir. So Mount Seir, the Esau's seed, the Edomites took Mount Seir from the, what are they called? From the Horites. Took Mount Seir from the Horites, killed them, and there were like maybe 230 women who survived, and then they took those Horite women as wives. And so he spoiled his seed because the Horites were Neanderthals. So that was another incident where Edomites spoiled their seeds by mixing with the Horites, okay, y'all? That's what's happening. Anyway, let's continue. I got to read it again because I lost my place. Taken in connection with the name of this figure in the Egyptian sphere, as often given, we have Naz-Seir, or Nazir, N-A-Z-I-R, and we know who it was that was to be called. We know who it was that was to be called the Naz-Seir-im. N-A-Z-S-E-I-R, there's Seir, Mount Seir, there's Seir, hyphen E-N-E. This is talking about JC, the Christ figure. Naz-Seir means the sent priest. So that reminds me of Emmanuel, or Emmanuel, the promised seed, right, y'all? Virgo. But anyway, let's keep it moving. So the rod promised, see y'all? See the rod, the branch, the rod? So the rod promised to come forth from the stem or stump of Jesse is called Neizir, N-E-I-Z-E-R, in the Hebrew Bible. They're translated the branch. That takes us right back to Virgo. Y'all see it? Remember, Virgo has an ear of corn in one hand with the seeds, and then a branch in the other hand. Y'all remember that from yesterday's lesson, as a matter of fact? Here we are. So here's Virgo. Look at what she has in her hand. Okay? All right. All right, so let's go back. Let's pick it back up. Where are we? Hold on. Give me 1 second, y'all. Let me find my place. All right, so it reads here, so the rod promised to come forth from the stem or stump of Jesse is called Neizir in the Hebrew Bible. They're translated the branch, the princely scoin, S-C-I-O-N. That's reminding me of Scorpio, Virgo, Scorpio, scoin, S-C-I-O-N. So ion, skoion, something like that. All right. Where is it? Hold on, y'all. I lost my. Okay. So the princely skoion or skuion, S-C-I-O-N, who should, quote unquote, smite the earth with the rod of his mouth and slay the wicked with the breath of his lips, end quote. Not then only because Christ spent his earlier years at an obscure little village by the name of Nazareth, but above all, because he was the sent prince, the Messiah, the branch. At once, the net Zir, Netzer of Isaiah, the Netzer of Isaiah, and the Nazir, N-A-Z-S-E-I-R, of these equally prophetic constellations. From the earliest ages of Christianity till now, interpreters and defenders of the scriptures have been at a loss to explain by what prophet or in what sacred prophecy it was said, as claimed by the apostle, that Christ should be called a Nazarene. What? He's calling him a Nazarene. He's calling him an Edomite. He's calling him a hybrid. Based on the words that we're looking at, y'all. Right? Seir, Mount Seir, the Horites hybrid. And we know the Edomites mixed with the Horites. Nobody can argue that. Right? These are cavemen. They're troglodyte niggers. Right? That's how they are listed. So anyway, so looking at this, Christ would be a troglodyte. An Edomite. Y'all, all right? A Nazi. But anyway, let's keep it going. But here, from a most unexpected quarter, we find the nearest and most literal foreshadowing of that very name. The most literal. That's what I'm interested in. That's what you should be in. The denotative meaning of a word, not the connotative meaning of the word. The original meaning. So he continues, we find the nearest and most literal foreshowing of that very name, given in place as a destination of the seed of the woman. The seed of the woman, of course, is Virgo, and the seed of corn, which represents the promised seed, right? Which represents JC, the Christ figure, according to that religious doctrine. And describing him as the sent priest, the lordly eagle, the appointed terror in pieces and extirpator of the whole serpent brood. Of the whole serpent brood. Sound like the serpent woman, right, y'all? Well, we'll get into that. And and in this Nazir, N-A-Z-S-E-I-R, or Nazirius, N-A-Z-S-I-R-I-U-S, we are to see him, of whom Matthew said, quote, he came and dwelt in a city called Nazareth, that it might be fulfilled, which was spoken by the prophets. He shall be called Nazir, N-A-Z hyphen S-E-I-R hyphen E-N-E, that he shall be called Nazirene, that he shall be called a Nazarene. Matthew chapter 2, verse 23. Now, isn't it interesting, y'all, that as we look at the at this word Nazirius, N-A-Z hyphen S-I-R-I-U-S, that's Sirius, the canine star. So that takes us right smack into astrology when we look at the language. I hope everyone can see that. Showing that let me rephrase that. This is another instance of astrotheology being plainly, being observable or plainly evident when you start looking at the etymology of the words. Okay? So now he continues. In accordance with this, the second star of this constellation is called Mirzam, M-I-R-Z-A-M, the ruler. The third star is Meliphan, which means the leader and the chieftain. The fourth star is Wesen, W-E-S-E-N, which means shining, illustrious, scarlet. The fifth star, Adhara, means the glorious, and another star is Al-Harbor, or Al-Habar, H-A-B-O-R, which means the mighty. All right, so y'all put all of these together and you'll see that this is describing the Christ figure, right? This is describing JC in the Christian doctrine, or any solar deity for that matter, because remember, the solar zodiacal projection is a template for all the solar deity religions. So these stars carry a name that describe the solar deity, regardless of what era of time the religion is said to have been active in, regardless of who the deities were, the location, the names and the places. None of that matters. Okay? This template would apply across all of them in terms of the description of the deity. Okay? It would and my opinion is, y'all, my opinion is that they did all of these templates at one time. At one time. So, depending on where you were within the Moroccan Empire, what the culture and what the traditions were, they adjusted things based upon that, right? So these people over here, they get one deity, and it's going to be the religious doctrine is going to be a remix of nature. Okay, the deities will reflect names and customs that they're used to, and they would do that all over the world, because the world is basically the Moorish Empire or the Moroccan Empire. Okay, so let's keep it going. It would verily seem as if we were selecting a list of scriptural expressions concerning our Redeemer when we thus give the sense of these astronomical names. That's what I just said, right? Their meaning is most truly significant when understood of Christ. Well, it could be of Krishna, it could be of JC, it could be any of the solar deities, okay, y'all? But they are worse than absurd if we are to understand them of an Egyptian dog. So the author is saying, well, you know what? It appears to me, before I read the last sentence, it appears to me that the author is saying, this is prophetic of JC, the Christ figure, coming, because to describe a dog like this would be absurd. The dog is not going to be a leader, a chieftain. He's not going to be shining and illustrious, right? He's not going to be glorious. He's not going to be the mighty, the ruler. So it can't be a dog. It has to be prophetic of the Messiah, of JC coming. This is what the author is saying. Hold on, y'all. Yes. Yes, hello. English, please. English?
Cho cháu hỏi cô có phải là cô Nguyễn ý?
All right, y'all. So the next sentence reads this: nor will these showings interpret at all except as applied to the scene subject, and period of which Gemini, as I have explained, is the central sign. So Gemini, if I remember correctly, is Buddha. So Buddha was the solar deity venerated in Gemini. But if I remember correctly, yeah, I think it was Buddha. But anyway, he goes on and on and on. So now do y'all see the connection between the dog stars, Canis Major and Canis Minor, and being God? Right? The Christian Trinity says that JC is God in the flesh. Right? JC and God, the Father and the Son, are one. All right, so now dog being the anagram of God should make a whole lot more sense to you right now. When you think about the movie The Wizard of Oz and the dog pulling back the curtain, right? But you should also know that what? That you take God is the modern day spelling of the dramatic deity Odin and Woden, who is rumored to be Thoth, the Kemetic or Egyptian deity Thoth. Thoth is where we get thought is the root of our modern word thought. Thought is a function of the mind, which goes back to the first Hermetic law. All is mind. The universe exists in the mind of the all. Okay, so in other words, consciousness, awareness, divine providence, infinite intelligence, city consciousness, whatever you want to call it. All right? So it is the connecting back with nature that will free you from the bonds or the bondage of religious doctrine, religious domination. Okay, or what, y'all? It will bring you home from the land of Oz, from La La Land, from the land of make-believe, from the land of religious beliefs, okay? And bring you back home to the land of nature and reality. Concrete versus abstract. All right. Yeah, let's get back to. Hold on, y'all. Wait a minute. Let's continue with this. So I'm going to start on page 93. The companion of Sirius. The companion. Hold on. Wait a minute. Give me 1 second, y'all. You know what? I gotta keep going on page 93. So I'm gonna pick up on let me show y'all, in case y'all want to go through this with me. So I just read here and here. So I'm going to pick up at this next subheading and just go down, because I've seen some things that I think are worth putting into this video. So the Sublime Prince. A magnificent picture of the sun sun is that which the psalmist gives, where he represents him as a bridegroom. A magnificent picture of the sun, all right, represented as a bridegroom. sun sun represented as a bridegroom, glowing under his wedding canopy, exalting like a mighty man to run his race, and going forth from one horizon to the other horizon with the power of heat and brightness from which nothing can hide. Sounds like the sun sun, right? from sunrise to sunset, yo. A 24-hour day, or from the summer solstice, from the spring equinox or the vernal equinox to the fall equinox, okay? In which case we're dealing with justice, all right? 12 hours of daylight, 12 hours of night. That's concrete. You can see it, okay? You can't, there's no more justice than that. Because what you do with your 12 hours of daylight and whatever you get in return for it, that's totally on you. That's totally on what you do with your time. You can sin, you can spin, you can do whatever, right? But if it turns out that you don't have enough provisions in the winter, well, you get your just due, right? You get your just due. Whatever a man soweth, that he shall reap. But anyway, let's keep it going. Okay, but what is said of the natural sun sun is still thrillingly true of the sun son of righteousness. The sun son of righteousness. Y'all know he's talking about, or that quote is lifted out of the Bible, talking about the Messiah, right? JC, the Christ figure. But what is more thrillingly true of the sun son of righteousness in the case before us? Now remember, the author's title, The Gospel in the Stars. So he's making an argument that the constellations, that the stars prophesy the coming of JC, the Christ figure, or who? The sun son of righteousness. All right, he continues. He is the bridegroom for, quote unquote, the marriage of the Lamb is Aries, is come. He stands under the wedding canopy, the illustrious, the glorious, ready for revelation in the brightness of his appearing, and exalting to go forth in all his invincible energy to search and try the earth from end to end. This is sound like the sun rising, right? So if you look over at the horizon, the sun is right at the horizon. And of course, it looks to us like the sun is beneath the starry heavens, the starry canopy. Okay, that's the visual image. So he continues. Sorry, y'all, I got to go back. So he stands under the wedding canopy. This is what I just described. The illustrious, the glorious, ready for revelation in the brightness of his appearance. So this is sunrise. Okay? So the darkness is going to transition into daylight. Darkness will transition into light. So the brightness of his appearing and exalting to go forth. Yeah, he's going to go forth, right? From about 5:30, maybe between 5 and 6 a.m., 5:30, 5:45 a.m. Night will transition to day, and then Horus, or the sun sun, will walk across the sky in what? 12 steps, right? Horus will walk across the sky in 12 steps, which is why there are 12 grades. You know, you go K through 12. And everything else that's associated with 12. And when you look at 12, 1 plus 2 is 3. So now you're dealing with 3, 6, and 9. Now you can go back to what we started with. 3 goes into 360 degrees, the number of times, right? Hold on, y'all. That's going to take you back to page 41 that we discussed in the Clock of Destiny. But I'm not going to do that right now. Maybe later if we get time. Hold on. Give me 1 second, please. All right, y'all. Okay, all right. But it's gonna lead you to nature. It's gonna lead you to, like for you Hebrew Israelites, it's gonna lead you through the number of months per season. There are 4 seasons, 3 months per season. So that's gonna take you guys to your calendar. Okay, a correct calendar with all of the feast days and all of that. Let's see, four seasons, three months per season. There's something else even more important. It's going to take you back to I am. All right, it's going to take you back to I am. All right, and then the woman. Okay, that's page. I think it's page 41 in Clock of Destiny, Volume 1. But anyway, let's keep it moving. He stands under the wedding canopy, the illustrations, the glorious, ready for revelation. Yeah, because the lights are on now, right? You can see now. In the brightness of his appearing. And let me turn this ringer off, y'all. Hold on. I'm distracted by it. Hold on. Okay? The exaltation to go forth in all his invincible energy. You cannot overcome the sun. The sun, once it comes over the horizon, you cannot overcome it. It is invincible. This is what the author is talking about. To search and try the earth from end to end. Yeah. So now that the lights are on, especially at the zenith, which is going to occur about 12 o'clock, midday, about 12 o'clock in the afternoon, depending if you're at the equator or between the coffee belt or within the coffee belt, 23.5 degrees north, Tropic of Cancer, all the way down to 23.5 degrees south, the Tropic of Capricorn. The sun is going to hit the earth. The rays of the sun, that electromagnetic energy, is going to hit the earth at a 90-degree angle. No shadow is going to be cast. So guess what? No shadow, no darkness. That means that you can see everything if you care to see it. There's nothing hidden in the dark. There's no shadows. Y'all see what he's trying to say? Well, not what he's trying to say, but what he is saying here. So his invincible energy to search and try the earth from end to end. Yeah, he's going to search because the lights are on. All right, so those of you who want to see, you'll be able to see. In this case, you'll be able to see the religious BS. Okay? Nobody's going to fool you because you're not being naive, especially willfully naive or ignorant. Okay? He continues, revealing everything, no shadow cast. Okay, now when you go above 23.5 degrees north, the sun is going to hit the earth at an angle. Okay, it's going to hit the earth at an angle, not directly 90 degrees. So yeah, there's a shadow that's going to be cast. Okay? In other words, you can stand in the sun at any time of the day. The sun will never be directly over your head, so it'll cast a shadow. And then that shadow is darkness, right? So evil things can be done in the dark. Y'all see what it's saying? But in this case, it's just a shadow. You can move. You can shift your body. And now the sunlight is right there, exposing everything. Exposing everything. There's no hiding. There's no hiding place when the lights are on, when the sun is out. This is what the author is saying. And try the earth from end to end, revealing everything, testing everything, and bringing burning, death, and destruction to whatever is found lifting itself against him. That's the S-U-N Son personified, right? As the quote-unquote, the King of Kings and Lord of Lords. So our sun, our S-U-N Son, is the king of all the suns in this galaxy. The Lord of Lords, the Lord of all the other suns in this galaxy. Y'all see his point? So he continues. In this attitude and in these relations, he is the hunter and destroyer of the hair. Now he's talking. He's talking about the dog star. Okay, the true Naz hyphen seer hyphen ing, the true Nazarene. Okay, because the lights are on, the sun is out. You can see everything. Okay, he's the true hunter and destroyer of the hare, of the rabbit. Of the rabbit, right? Easter, rabbits. The appointed prince, the lordly eagle, the destroyer of the serpent. Okay, the serpent in the Garden of Eden, the woman shall bruise him on the head, but the serpent will bruise him on the heel. Y'all see it? The Bible doctrine remixed from this. Here especially, he is the mighty, the glorious, the prince of the right hand. As the Arabic has it, the chief leading his hosts to effective victory. Here heat and burning and plague and death attend upon his going forth. And men are smitten and scorched, as it is written, quote, their flesh shall consume away while they stand upon their feet, and their eyes shall consume away in their sockets, and their tongue shall consume away in their mouth, quoting Zechariah chapter 14, verse 12. All right? End quote. For the day of the Lord of hosts, the sun and all of the other stars, all right? For the day of the Lord of hosts shall be upon every one that is proud and lofty, and upon every one that is lifted up, and the loftiness of man shall be bowed down, and the haughtiness of men shall be made low, and the Lord alone shall be exalted in that day. All right, so now y'all see where these descriptions of the dog star are coming from. So that was quoted from Isaiah chapter 2, verse 12. From Isaiah 2. There's a typo. I think it's Isaiah chapter 2, and there's a typo. Let me show y'all. You know, as an author and publisher, I'm always interested in typos. I don't criticize because I understand just because you have a typo doesn't mean anything other than you need an editor. You need an editor who has the time to edit your work. Okay? But anyway, let's continue. And out of his mouth goeth a sharp sword. And sword is an anagram of words. 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 In the beginning was the Word. And the Word was with God, and the Word was God. So now we're talking about the Hermetic Law of vibration. But what also to do with words? It was something we were talking about in this lesson. I don't remember right now, but I'll come back to it. It'll come to me. That with it, this is the sharp sword. Oh, the God is a verb transitive. Words, sword. That with it, he should smite the nations. In other words, with his words, he shall smite the nations. Right? The tongue is sharper than a two-edged sword. And he shall rule them with a rod of iron, and he shall treadeth the winepress of fierceness of the wrath of Almighty God. Revelation 19, verse 15. Now, when you talk about the winepress, he's coming out of, I think it's Isaiah 61, which is not talking about a violent act whatsoever. Okay, the winepress, that whole, those verses, they have to do with the process of making wine, vintage. Vintage. This is a process of making wine. And it has to do with the autumn or fall equinox. Period. But the scribes scandalized it. The word is vintage, which is the winemaking, related to the winemaking process. And they scandalized it and said, vengeance. Vengeance. Okay, Jeremiah 8, verse 8. And why would they do something like that? Well, they did it like that to scare you to death. Force you into believing or accepting their religious doctrine. Force you into giving up natural law in the state of mind, living your life according to natural law and self-governance, to replace that with a belief system that's totally disconnected with nature, totally disconnected from nature, that would actually harm you. Because when you act out of harmony with nature, nature will send you corrective signals in the form of problem or trouble, pain, as a way to get your attention and say, hey, correct, don't do that anymore. Right? But religion teaches you that suffering is godly. So now, even when nature is communicating with you, trying to get you to preserve your life and make your life better and easier, your religion tells you to accept the suffering and keep you continuously out of harmony with nature until you eventually expire early. Right? Now he continues. It is the same picture of the same identical scene described by Isaiah chapter 63, where it is asked, quote unquote, who is that cometh from Edom? This is the verse I was talking about. So it wasn't Isaiah 61, it's Isaiah 63. Who is that cometh from Edom? Now remember, y'all, Nazarene, Naz-Seir-in, Naz-Seir-Ene, Naz-Seir-in, Seir, Mount Seir, Horite, Edomite, Edom. Who is it? I'm sorry. So Isaiah 63 reads, quote, who is this that cometh from Edom, with dyed garments from Basra? This that is glorious in his apparel, traveling in the greatness of his strength. So this is an Edomite who's, wearing spectacular clothes. Expensive and spectacular clothing. Right? Somebody look at him and they, wow, this dude is dressed to kill. Okay? This Edomite is dressed to kill. Look at him, right? To which he answers, I that speak in righteousness, mighty to save. Okay, so mighty, now we're going back to the dog star, remember? The first star. Which star is it that's called mighty? Hold on, y'all. Okay, so there's another star called Al-Habor, which means the mighty. Okay? To which he answers, I that speak in righteousness, mighty to save. And where the further inquiry is put, quote unquote, wherefore art thou red in thine apparel? Now remember, we saw scarlet mentioned as one of the meanings of the stars. So let me go back and find it. I think scarlet was with Canis Major. Give me 1 second, y'all. One moment. And y'all, also scarlet is a color of grape juice, right? Scarlet is a color of red wine. Give me 1 second. Let me find where the star that has, okay, so here we are. The fourth star, which is called Wesen, W-E-S-E-N, which means shining, illustrious, scarlet. Scarlet, of course, scarlet is red, y'all, right? Wherefore art thou red in thine apparel? Now remember, the apparel is spectacular. The apparel is spectacular. Listen, who is it that cometh from Edom with dyed garments from Basra? This that is glorious in his apparel. All right? This that is glorious in his apparel. Glorious means shining, means illustrious, right, y'all? Etc., etc., etc. Wherefore art thou red in thine apparel, and thine garments like him that treadeth the wine fat. Now, of course, y'all know this should be wine vat, but he ain't gonna tell you that. But I tell you what you could do. There's a link to the free PDF of The Devil's Pulpit by Robert Taylor, and you can read the whole story about Isaiah 63. Okay? I'm not holding anything back from anybody. He's being deceitful right now. Well, I've seen a couple instances where this Freemason, this high-level Freemason, has been deceitful. All right? So not wine fat, wine vat. Isaiah 63, again, describes the process of making wine, the vintage process, which was scandalized or expressed connotatively as vengeance. All right? But anyway, let's keep it moving. And further answer is, quote unquote, I have trodden the winepress. All right, y'all, there we go. I have trodden the winepress alone. And of the people, there was none with me, for I will tread them in mine anger and trample them in my fury, and their blood shall be sprinkled upon my garments, and I will stain all my raiment. For the day of vengeance, for the day of winemaking is in my heart. Yeah, absolutely. Because when the winter months come, you want to have all the wine that you can get because wine makes you feel warm inside. So when it's cold in the winter, you drink you some wine and you feel warm inside. Okay? Wine also has a lower freezing point than water. All right, y'all? And trample them refers to the grapes, and their blood, that's the grape juice. And their blood shall be sprinkled upon my garments. Absolutely, because you're in the vat stomping, squashing the grapes. Of course it's going to get on your clothes. All right? And I will tread down the people in mine anger, and make them drunk in my fury. So the message here in this case, the message in this case comes from the owner of the winemaking facility to his staff, his employees. Hey, remember, you are standing in a wine vat, stomping on the grapes. Okay? You're making wine. Don't be up there drinking the wine. Because if you get drunk and you fall into the vat, it's basically over for you. Basically, you're going to die in that wine vat. Y'all read The Devil's Pulpit. All right? You can read more about, I'm just telling the story that Robert Taylor tells in The Devil's Pulpit. Okay? The link to the free PDF is in the description area of this video. And I will bring down their strength to the earth. Well, yeah, the waste products and the seeds are going to go back into the earth and decompose and be used as nutrition for vegetation. All right, y'all? Here is true Pollux. So Pollux is a star, okay? The real, wow. So here is true Pollux, the real Sirius, the mighty chieftain, the wolf or eagle coming upon the enemy, the glorious hero of salvation, arrayed in brightness and scarlet, illustrious, glorious, shining. Okay, y'all, this is the fourth star, Wesson, right? Scarlet, excuse me. And then also the fifth star, Adhara, which means glorious. So Adhara is glorious. And Al-Harbor and Al-Habor, rather, is the mighty. Okay? So he continues, the triumphing in the greatness of his strength. All the features in the sign thus harmoniously weave into one consistent and magnificent showing, which is the same in the stars as in the written prophecies. Y'all must go. You know, maybe I need to be the one who get the. You know what? Y'all go read The Devil's Pulpit. Read up on this story. All right, so that you can see that this is talking about the winemaking process after September 29. You can only get vinegar from the grapes. There's no more sweet wine. All right. So when JC was on the cross, and his mother Mary standing right there with him, signifying the crucifixion, or the sun, Christ being crucified, the sun falling below the celestial equator on September 22nd. They give him the cup of, what do they call it? Well, it's vinegar. All right, they give him the cup, I forgot what it's called in the text, but it's vinegar, right? That is showing that the vintage process has ended. Has ended. Now the only thing you can get is only good. The only thing you can use the grape for after September 29 is to make vinegar. That's what it means. So here I would have to disagree with the author strongly, because this is not representing any type of prophecy. This is simply representing the time to make wine and the wine making process, which is the vintage process. All right? Not vengeance, vintage. Okay? So this ain't got nothing to do with any prophecy. All right? But don't take my word for it. This is really fun. I really enjoy doing this. He continues, all the features in the sign thus harmoniously weave into one consistent and magnificent showing, which is the same in the stars as is the written prophecy. So we see that this is not true. This is not true. Okay, now you all are welcome to come to your own conclusion, but from my point of view, this has no support. No support from the text when you look at the text from a literal point of view, okay, when you look at the etymology, all right? When you look at the etymology, this is only talking about the wine-making process or the vintage process. So this is a Jeremiah 8:8 occurrence. All right, that doctrine is Jeremiah 8:8 occurrence. The companion of Sirius. But when the glorious S-U-N Son of Righteousness thus comes forth in his majesty, from under the wedding canopy the sun is coming up, clothed with a vesture dipped in blood, riding upon the white horse and sending out his mighty sword to smite the nations and hurl the beast and their followers to perdition. He comes not alone. The armies of the heaven follow him on white horses. White horses, y'all, would have to do with what? Half man, half horse. Right? The half man, half horse, Sagittarius. The half man, half horse. All right, warrior judges like himself. He is married now, and his bride is with her husband, quote unquote, to execute vengeance upon the nations and punishments upon the people. See, there's that word vengeance, which is really a vengeance. There's the word vengeance, which is really vintage, which is really winemaking, and they scandalize this whole thing to make this doctrine to scare the hell out of people. Okay? To bind their kings with chains and their nobles with fetters of iron, to execute upon them the judgment written. This honor have all the saints. Y'all know what this does? This puts the people in a frame of mind where I'm going to wait on Jesus. I'm going to wait on Jesus, and Jesus going to get them. My big brother going to get them. In other words, it becomes an alibi for you to sit there and do nothing. Okay? Either for the coward or the person who doesn't know. All right? In other words, it takes your power away. All right? It makes you totally docile. And you're going to accept it because you're waiting on your big brother. You're waiting on Jesus to come make everything all right. You know, this army, like he just described, to crack the sky and come and save you. But you know deep down yourself, the practical part of you is telling you that you need to save yourself. Right? Because who has been saving you your whole life? Huh? Can you really rely on other people to do anything for you? Be honest with yourself. What has life taught you? What has life taught you? No, you need to go do it yourself. All right? But religion has conditioned you to be afraid to do something for yourself and for your nation, for your people, for the empire. Ooh, they gonna get you, right? I'm just gonna wait on Jesus. Jesus, Lord, forgive him. All that kind of nonsense, okay? But anyway, let's keep it moving. And to bring out this feature, there is added a third decan of Gemini, the second dog or wolf. It differs from the first only in being smaller and feebler, and following little behind the first. For the saints, y'all know the saints is the stars, right? Actually, by this time are all like unto their Lord, and follow him wherever he goeth. Princeliness is in them also, though the Arabic astronomy designates them as the prince of the left hand, as it calls him the prince of the right hand. In the Egyptian zodiac, this constellation has a human figure with the eagle's head, hence a sign of humanity exalted to power and authority against the serpent seed. It is called Sebak, S-E-B-A-K, that is conquering, victorious. Now, y'all see this in the Christian doctrine, right? I mean, I don't need to explain it, do I? Give me 1 second. All right, so in Egypt, Canis Minor has a form of a human figure with the eagle's head. Hence a sign of humanity exalted to power and authority. Humanity, not just one person, right? Exalted to power and authority against the serpent seed. Well, who is the serpent seed? Who's the serpent woman? Who's the serpent seed? We shall see. It is called Sebak, S-E-B-A-K. That is the conquering, victorious. Let me show Canis again. All right, y'all, pause it on the replay. But the link, the free, I don't know if I have the link. If I have it, it's in the community section, the community page rather. So y'all check the community page for the link to this book. All right. So now let's keep it moving. Last paragraph on this topic. The name of the principal star, a very bright star of the first magnitude, and from that star, the name of the constellation itself on our planisphere is Procyon, Procyon, y'all, which in its noetic elements, Noetic, in its noetic elements is associated in meaning with redemption. Y'all see that? So it's a bright star, very bright star associated with redemption, okay? Noetic elements, redemption, and may mean redeemed or redeeming, or both, as well describes the body of the glorified saints. Y'all got that? You can't make this stuff up. The term al-mirzam, M-I-R-Z-A-M, occurs here also, as in the second deacon, and ascribes rulership to what is here symbolized. The term al-mizir occurs here also. Okay, I already read that. The same as to the head prince going before, just as Christ has promised to his faithful people that they shall share his throne and sovereignty and quote unquote reign with him forever and ever. Well, what are they going to reign over? If the world is going to be cleansed, what are they going to reign over? Or if everybody's going to go to heaven, what are they going to reign over? The second star in this constellation bears the name Al-Gomelza, Gomelza, which in signification also refers to redemption, right? The redemptive value of Christ's blood, and seems to include particularly the previous history of the saints, all right, as like their Lord, once burdened, once loaded down, enduring for the sake of others. So the redemption, okay, like a ransom price being paid. So in other words, you're a debtor, and then JC comes and pays the debt. Right? You are a debtor, a sinner, and now JC is going to come along and pay your debt and release you from bondage. Release you from bondage to sin and death. To release you from bondage of sin and death. To release you from bondage of civil death. To release you from the bondage of being a debtor and a stateless person who has no constitutional or treaty protections at all. All right, who is a living sacrifice for the ens legis, for the straw, and you get dragged in under the jurisdiction of the black codes into a de facto synagogue that presents itself as a court. All right? But you need to wait until you expire in the flesh before you get redeemed. I can't believe I used to believe in that stuff. All right. So we're almost finished, y'all. I'm kind of enjoying this. So I want to go to the next subheading. The next subheading is the myths, page 94. The myths touching this dog are varied. Some say he represents the Egyptian god Anubis. All right, y'all? All right? Why is there so much scandal with Egypt and Christianity? All right? So some say he represents Anubis, which was the god that took charge of the dying and carried them to judgment. Others say The dog constellations refer to Diana and her hunting and destroying wild beasts. Some say he is the dog of Icarus, Icarus, who revealed the place where the murderers of his master had hid the body of their victim, and thus was the occasion of various sad and disturbing calamities. So y'all, I just had a thought, let me share it with you. Y'all notice that what the Roman Catholic Church has done, they have the Zodiac, the constellations, and they injected their mythological stories, okay? Or they remixed ours. But they changed the name and adjusted it to reflect their history. Or the history that they want to push to dominate and have the world be as they want it to be. So what's the lesson in that? The lesson in that is that we need to, let me backtrack. So because they have attached this to, let's say, the heavenly bodies, they have captured or harnessed the power. They've harnessed the power and imbued these stories with power to support their paradigm, their worldview, their power structure. So we just need to re-engineer it, right? In other words, we need to put our stories back in here, right? We need to put our stories. So when we describe, let's say, Canis Major, Canis Minor, we need to have our original stories. And so therefore we use that cosmic energy, we harness the cosmic energy to support our worldview, our paradigm, right? Our power structure. Okay, so why am I saying this? This is going back to the Hermetic law of gender. All right, the Hermetic law of gender. All right, specifically masculine and feminine energy coming together and to form and create a reality in all the ways that that can happen. Okay, y'all? Anyway, let's keep it going. And still other accounts represent this dog constellation as one of the hounds of Actaeon, which in madness devoured their master after Diana had turned him into a stag. A stag is like a deer. Action was trained and cunning hunter who was impotent toward Artemis, the goddess of purity and justice, and had command over sufferings, plagues, and death. JC has command over those things, right? He boasted himself against her and even appropriated to himself and associates what was sacred to her. Hence these judgments came upon him and made an end of him. These stories agree in nothing except in the recognition of some good agency or heavenly power at work to bring the erring to account. Y'all got that? So these mythological stories, the essence of them is that people who do wrong are brought to justice. They don't have anything else in common. He continues, and give trouble and death to the proud, the offending, and the intractable. But in this they all accord, that means they all agree, all have in common with the character and office which the scriptures ascribe to the glorious church. Y'all heard that? The church. The church. But in this they all accord, but in this they all agree with the character and office which the scripture ascribes to the glorified church. Now, y'all, let me ask you. Do the scriptures ascribe authority and power to the church? Now, those of you who are Bible scholars, you already know the answer. No, it does not. All right? So all these mythological stories ascribe, or they agree, and they give, let me just read it. But in this, they all accord with the character and office which the scriptures ascribe to the church in connection with what follows immediately on the marriage of the Lamb. Now, y'all know what this has direct relation to, right? The doctrine of discovery. And hold on. And unum sanctum, where the Pope claims that the Catholic Church, that the Pope is a representative of Christ, right? And that as that representative, the Pope or the Church owns everything, all the land, all the resources, every womb, man, animal, and hybrid. The church owns it all until Christ comes back. And that all the political authorities and their armies are below the church and the church officials and below the ecclesiastical class. And that the church has power to instruct the politicians as to what to do, especially with their military. And that should take you into the treaty, the secret treaty of Verona, where they need to thank the Pope for what the Pope has done for them, which is submitting the people through mind control, through the abuse, through the weaponization of the Hermetic Law of mental gender, or Inception. All right, I always hear Consul General talk about Inception. I never saw the movie. But it would be the same thing based upon what he talks about. But if y'all saw that movie Inception, I'm sure y'all know what I'm talking about. All right? That's the abuse, the weaponization of the law of the Hermetic Law of mental gender. All right? They help to strengthen the chain. Day is talking about these mythologies. They help to strengthen the chain of evidence identifying Procyon as the starry symbol of those heavenly armies which come forth along with the King of Kings and Lord of Lords to the battle of the great day of capital God, of the great day of God Almighty, to make an end to the misrule and usurpation on earth, and clear it of all wild beasts which have been devastating it for many ages. And something kind of tells me, I haven't thought this through, but something kind of tells me that this is referencing the Moors, all right? Those renegade Moors who were who failed to live according to the ways of our ancient foremothers and forefathers. So this is taking us to Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 15 through 68. All right? Did y'all hear that? Did y'all hear it? The curses, the punishments. Right? The great day of God Almighty to make an end to misrule and usurpation on earth. All right? And that the religions and their armies would be used to implement these punishments or these curses. All right. So in our treaty, those Moors who were living outside of harmony with nature, who were going against the principles of our ancient foremothers and forefathers, they rejected those principles. In other words, they rejected the birthright. According to the Treaty of Peace and Friendship, 1836, between the Moroccan Empire and the United States of North America, the foreign United States of North America, the treaty allows for those renegade Moors, those felons, those Moors who corrupted the blood of the covenant or just corrupted the blood. It allowed them to be hit with bills of attainder. It allowed them to be hit with bills of pain and suffering, to be escheated, to be hypothecated, everything in Deuteronomy 28, to be taken as booty and prize. So the treaty allowed for that because they're going against their ancient foremothers and forefathers, which means that they would receive the corrective signals or corrective communication from nature, which in religion is called the curses. Deuteronomy 28, 15 through 68, right? That's giving you pain and punishment as a corrective signal for you to do what? Return to the Most High, or you to return to living the instructions, the laws of your looking for. Let me go back to Canis. Was it 41, y'all? Was I on page 41? No? It's toward the back of the book, I think. Yeah, here we are. So let's go back to page 95. Summary of Gemini. Thus, then, the records in the stars, combined with the records in the book, to picture to us a most sublime destiny for the congregation of believers. But what I want to focus on is the record in the stars. The record in the stars, all right? So, page 7 of the Clock of Destiny, volume 1. Second paragraph. This is what it reads. Remember, the human body, so I'm going to say the man's body, or the Genesis chapter 2, verse 7, man and woman's body, and mind, and earth contain all elements of nature. We are what we eat, drink, inhale, and exhale. Therefore, all energy generates from our stomach, mind, and earth. But this is one of the points. We are it says here, human family. I'm going to replace that. We are the family of man. We are the only supreme moving planets or heavenly bodies. Okay? Now, let's continue. He continues, next paragraph. I'm sorry, not the next paragraph. Let's skip down. Astrology, I'm skipping down one paragraph. Astrology is the code of the Moorish nation. Astrology is the code of the Moorish nation, and we're talking about what, y'all? The record in the stars. Our forefathers of this hemisphere, that's the northern hemisphere, who founded the universal order of Islam, I self-law and master, I self-law, adept and master, 1,367 years ago, and re-educated the confused human family, the Han Umans, the Neanderthal, the hybrid, the caveman, Edomites, so on and so forth, thereby establishing the greatest civilization that the world has ever known, the civilization in which we now live. He continues. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and then back to 0, and then 3, 6, 9, and 12, the 60 seconds of the minute, the 60 minutes of the hour, and also the letters of the Arabic alphabet, all of which comprise the culture of the Moors, our forefathers of the Muslim world, who are often referred to in Christian literature as Mohammedans or heathens. Okay? My point is the record of the stars that this author is talking about is the astrology, which is the code of the Moorish nation. The code of the Moorish nation. That's my point. It's recorded in the stars. Uh-oh. All right? It's recorded in the stars. Okay? So back to page 95 of the Gospel in the Stars. He says here, they are the brethren to Christ even now and love him, and oft have sweet and blessed communion with him. But it is only through veils and intervening ordinances by faith and not by sight. That's crazy. By faith, y'all, that's abstract. By faith, faith is abstract. Sight is concrete because you can see it. So faith is belief, religious doctrine. All right? Sight, remember the glorious light, the illumination, the sun at its zenith, right? No shadow cast. You can see everything. You cannot be fooled unless you want to be fooled. By faith, not by sight. That's crazy. Do y'all see how this detaches you from nature? Like JC said, I think it's in Mark 4. He said, I speak to them in parables so that although having eyes to see, they'll never perceive. Y'all see it? Why? Because they trick you into having faith. And that faith is coming from what the priesthood, what the Moreh, what the Moshe, what the pastor, reverend, imam, rabbi tells you. Faith in the doctrine, which is most often totally detached from nature. So now we see, I can't believe I used to believe this stuff, all right? But I'll tell you what, I want to go by what I see. Because what I see, I know. Faith is just a belief, right? All right? So, by faith and not by sight. What a hustle. The time is coming when these veils shall be removed, and God's people shall meet him face to face, but you got to be dead because flesh and blood can't see God. So pick up your torture stake, pick up your cross, and carry it until you die, right? As a debtor. They shall meet him face to face, right? So you need to hope and believe. And that's adequate motivation for you to walk by faith and not by sight. Because when you ignore what you see, when you ignore what you see, you are ignoring reality. And you are living in a world of make-believe. By definition, y'all, that's crazy, right? That's crazy when you are living based upon your imagination. You're not responding to what you see, what's actually happening in the physical world. My goodness, right? So here it is, let's say, for example, here it is a big old elephant. Y'all know in Kenya, I knew some people from Kenya, and they told me that elephants are mean and very destructive, right? They will terrorize a village. So let's say there's an elephant coming, but you see a beautiful kitten, right? That elephant is gonna smash you. It's gonna be a painful death. But you see a beautiful kitten. Your eyes don't see the reality, right? So you cannot protect yourself. All right? Same thing with religion, all right? Religion does the same thing. So he continues, the time is coming when these veils shall be removed. Well, what do you need to remove the veils for, y'all? In the spiritual realm, in heaven, let's say, you don't need eyes. Eyes are for the physical world. So how are you going to remove a veil? See, it don't make sense, y'all. It's no different than you're going to burn in hell. Well, if hell is a spiritual place and fire burns physical things like wood, how you going to burn in hell when there's no fire there? Y'all see it? But anyway, let's keep it moving. And God's people shall meet him face to face and see the king in his beauty and be joined with him in all the intimacies of love. I don't want no intimacy with a man in love. Fellowship and oneness, being made co-partners with him in all he has and is and does. Yea, the loved and loving partnerships and loving participants in all his glory, throne and immortal administrations. Now, for me, it's something wrong with a man wanting to be in this kind of relationship with another man. All right? It says here, and be joined with him. And be joined with him. How joined? Through homosexuality. And be joined with him in all the intimacies of love. What kind of intimacy, Mr. So-and-so, are you going to have with another man? Let's say James or Billy, Thomas. What kind of intimacy do you want to have with Jesus? What kind of intimacy of love do you want to have with Jesus? Or what kind of intimacy do you want to have with one of the apostles or another man in your same status? What kind of love intimacy do you want to have? I tell you what, I don't want any. And I don't know about a man who wants to love intimacy with another man. All right? He continues, they shall not only, quote unquote, stand in judgment, but they shall be lifted when it comes, caught up to meet the Lord in the air, end quote, to be with him as no other beings are with him, even his bride and his wife. So now, this sounds like a threesome. I'm just keeping it real with y'all. What kind of love, intimacy of love is he talking about? And now with the wife too? Well, the bride is supposed to be the church, if I remember correctly. in the Christian doctrine, and the church is ruled by men. What kind of love, intimacy, what kind of sick stuff is that? And when his power goes forth to plague the wicked world, avenge the blood of the martyrers, overwhelm the great beast and his armies, rid the world of all the wild beasts of usurpation and unrighteousness. That means of all the people, of all the governments who tell the Catholic Church, I'm not scared of you, I'm gonna do my own thing. To rid the world of all the beasts, of all usurpation and unrighteousness, which have manifested or which have infested it for so long, and reduce the refractory nations and peoples to just and rightful authority. That is just and rightful authority of the Catholic Church, according to unum sanctum, according to the doctrine of discovery, etc., etc., etc. And in North America, manifest destiny, etc., etc., etc. The black codes. All right, y'all? By the force of an iron scepter, by the force of the U.S. military, to which all must bow or be dashed to pieces. Right? So the Inquisition, the U.S. military, right, y'all? They shall be one with him in the terrible manifestation and be co-administrators of that terrible almightiness. They in him and he in them shall be the Castor and Pollux. These are the two bright stars. Y'all can learn a lot about Castor and Pollux in the Devil's Pulpit, and actually you really need to know that these are two important stars that have been remixed into a religious doctrine and an oppressive governmental system, all right? So the Castor of Pollux, what y'all? Of the world to come. The changing from the Moorish Empire and natural law to a religious belief system that does not respect natural law, all right? Supremely blessed in each other, supremely blessed. So blessed meaning they took all the property and the nobility of the Moors, the autochthonous indigenous people. They took it, all right? And making blessed, putting glad songs where tears and groans have moaned their misery, and settling everything into order, peace, and performance of that divine kingdom when all shall be on earth as it is in heaven. All right, y'all. So I'm reading, I'm seeing, my interpretation is that this is talking about when Christianity would totally conquer the Moors, and the paradigm would shift from natural law to belief systems, doctrines and beliefs, all right? For those who know. But for the masses of the people, they think that this is prophetic and still to come with Jesus and, his, and the saints cracking the sky. But the conquest has already occurred. Oh, glorious outcomes. This is unum sanctum, y'all. Oh, glorious outcome for these toils and fears and trials and misgivings and faith, weary pilgrimage. Pilgrim. Rob the people in the Maghrib, Al-Aqsa, of their land, right? And possessions, the birthright. Death gone. Now y'all know the hybrids were civilly dead. They had nothing, right? Until the Magna Carta. Morality swallowed up of life. Union with the king complete. Vicissitude, peradventure, doubt, and disability clean, swept away forever. The throne, the dominion, so y'all correlate that to Genesis chapter 1. The throne, the dominion have in subjection, have dominion, have superiority over the fish of the sea and everything that walks about on the land. The commission that was given to the hybrid by Yaqub, right? And the glory secure. What a blindness is this? Who shall sing it as merits? And then the last part, blessed seats through rude and stormy scenes, I onward press to you. I don't know what he means by that. Oh, wait, yes I do. Blessed seats through rude and stormy scenes. Maybe he's talking about what you would see in warfare. Onward, I onward press to you. Okay, so in other words, the Christian armies and the military conquest. Other than that, I don't have any ideas about that. All right, so I kind of got way off topic. How long we've been going? Oh, wow, 2 hours and 15 minutes. It doesn't seem like that. All of that from the topic of dog. I didn't do anything I planned to do today. Well, at least we covered this aspect of dog, right, in greater detail. And so next class, next session, we're going to get back into Zodiac, not Zodiac, but Virgo, and then Coma. So, did I cover Coma? I think I covered Coma. I'm going to have to go back and check. But I think I covered Coma last class, which is a deacon of Virgo. Yeah, I did cover, and I covered the double nature, which is of Christ. Sometimes, y'all, when I forget where I'm at, when I do my margin notes, I don't remember where to start. So I'm going to have to go back. If we covered it in this book, yeah, I think we covered it because I talked a little bit about boots. I remember, or bootes. So we're going to do Coma out of, we're going to finish up Coma next session. We're going to finish up Coma out of W.E. Berlinger's The Witness of the Stars, okay? So this Witness of the Stars, at least as far as the Messiah, is falling apart. It's falling apart. If I remember, I'm going to get the Devil's Pulpit and go over Isaiah 63. Well, it's very fun. I mean, y'all will enjoy it. That is very fun. But it may not be for you if you are a religious person and you don't deal with, well, let me rephrase it. You may undergo cognitive dissonance, so you know, if you're a sensitive person, you may not want to be present in the next class when I go over Isaiah 63. All right? So here's Coma. We're going to pick up Coma in Witness of the Stars. All right, y'all? Which is a deacon of Virgo. Y'all see it says Coma, the woman and child, the desired of all nations. So we see this is talking about JC. And for some reason, did we go? I don't think we went through this. I have to check. All right. I have to check. Anyway, so y'all, this is going to be fun. And then we're going to go through Boots so after we finish Coma, we'll go through Boots and the Gospel and the Stars, and then also Boots and the Witness of the Stars, okay? And then after that, we're going to go to each house of the Zodiac until we finish, all right, y'all? Until we finish each of the 12 houses. All right, so assalamu alaikum, Islam to all the Moors, shalawama. I hope y'all learned something. I hope y'all will share this video so that other people can get the information.